What's up guys, I'm Danny, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down how to create this trippy mask mirror effect. I didn't really know what to call it, so we'll just call it an underground effect. Now this was a video suggestion from one of you guys, so if you guys want to see any videos, feel free to DM me or just join my Discord. With all that being said, let's get right into it. So here in After Effects, I have this close-up shot of our artist, and you definitely want to have a close-up shot or else the effect isn't really going to look as good. The first thing we're going to do is grab this layer, right-click, pre-compose it, and make sure to select this option right here. I'll just rename this to the name of the artist. And we're going to be adding an effect called a time warp. So I want to add this effect because I want my footage to be in slow motion like this. And then once you add that effect, we're going to pre-compose this layer again, and of course do the same settings. And then we're going to duplicate this layer, click Ctrl D, and then we're going to create a split screen effect. So for this bottom layer, grab your rectangle tool, open up the proportional grid, and let's mask out this part right here. I'm going to center the anchor point, so select that layer, hold the control button, and then just center the anchor point. Move this more towards the left so that it covers half of the proportional grid. And we're gonna also probably adjust the mask as well as the positioning later. But anyways, open up that mask and let's really increase the feather so that the edges of the layer is a lot softer. So let's do it like that, and then we can move the position again for this layer. Right there should be good. Let's do the same thing for the other layer, but this time we're gonna have this one on the right. So grab your rectangle tool and then just do the same thing. Mask it out like that. Center the anchor point. Open up the position. And let's move this towards the right. So you want to make sure that we can actually see our subject. You can always move the mask more towards the right. Open up the mask feather and then increase the feather so that the edges are softer. Right there is good enough. Move the position again so that the composition looks better. Grab the mask and I'm just going to move this more towards the right so that we can see the other layer as well. Right there is good enough. Now we have this clone split screen effect. Next thing we're going to do is create shape layers in order to create that glass mask effect. So grab your pen tool and make sure that the stroke is off and then the fill color is white. And I'm going to be creating a triangle. I'm going to be creating probably like 4 or 5, and it all really depends on your composition. But I'm going to make mine like that. And then you want to deselect the layer and create another shape layer or create another triangle. Keep doing that until you reach 5 or however many triangles that you want in your composition. Okay, so this is what I came up with. I created 5 triangle layers in total. And I just created like this, similar to how they did it in the actual music video. So once you do that, you want to grab all your triangle layers and then pre-compose them. Just name that to triangles, and we're going to be using these triangle layers in order to create that glass effect. Create a new adjustment layer, and for this one we're going to be adding a transform. Open the toggle switches and modes, grab your track mat and attach it to that triangles layer, or you can open up this panel and then just select your triangles layer. So anything we do on this adjustment layer is going to affect the triangles. For the transform, increase the scale, and as you guys can see, it distorts our footage. I'm going to increase the scale to 130. And also add a Gaussian blur so that it creates more of that glass effect. For the blurriness, I'll just increase that to 8. That looks good enough. And that just adds a little bit more depth to our footage. But if you want to add even more depth, we can go into the triangles layers and add a Gaussian blur to each of these layers. So the one here all the way on the right, let's increase this so that it's a lot more blurry. I'm just going to increase this to 30. And I'm also going to have this one at 30 as well. So just copy and paste the Gaussian blur onto that layer, or just copy and paste it to all of these layers. And we're going to change the blurriness for each of them. So for this one right here, decrease that so that it's not as blurry and it's a little more in focus. I'll just decrease that to 10. And then do the same thing for this layer right here, decrease the blurriness to 10. And then for the one in the middle, I'll have that one at the lowest settings. I'll just decrease that to 5. So this one's going to be the most in focus, and these ones on the outside are going to be a little more blurry. And then if we go back into the comp, as you guys can see, it creates more of that depth of field. And then we're going to be doing a few other things in order to make this effect look even better. So let's create a new solid layer, and for this color, I'm going to make it more green, and we can make it like a dark green like that, and then click OK, and then grab your pen tool right here, and I'm going to be creating a random shape across our composition. I think that should be good. Then we're going to open up the mask and then really increase the mask feather so the edges are a lot more blurry. Right there should be good. Open up the toggle switches and modes and change the blending mode to soft light or overlay. I think soft light looks better, so I'll just keep it like that, and that just adds a little more texture to the effect. Then we're going to be adding a motion blur, so create another adjustment layer. We're going to be adding a CC Force motion blur or RSMB if you have that. Increase the motion blur samples to 30, and that just makes the motion blur look a little better. But once you do add this effect, just keep in mind that it's really render intensive. As you guys can see, it like takes forever to render. You can always just change the resolution of your settings. I'm just going to change mine to 3rd. Let's create another adjustment layer, and we're going to be creating a vignette as well as a flicker. And in order to create this, I'm going to be using a preset from my Motion Energy Effects V2 editing pack. If you guys are interested in that, I'll have that linked down in the description with a discount code. So open up the Motion Energy Effects V2 Flash, and we're going to be adding a constant flicker with vignette, and just apply that to the adjustment layer. This is what we have for the effect so far. I think that looks really fire. Next thing we're going to do is create another adjustment layer, and we're going to be adding a Gaussian blur in order to make it a little more blurry. So for the blurriness, I'm only going to increase that to 4. And the final thing we're going to do is create a flash. So create a new solid layer, make sure that it's white, and we're going to be adding a flash at the end. Make sure this layer is only 1 frame. This is what we have for the final effect at full resolution. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. And remember, if you have any video suggestions, let me know down in the comments. Appreciate you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.